Hey my friend, thanks for coming and checking out this video on my thoughts and early access review on Enshrouded. Grab yourself a cup of coffee or your favorite beverage and let's check it out. You are Flameborn, last ember of hope of a dying race. Awaken, survive the terror of a corrupting fog, and reclaim the lost beauty of your kingdom. Venture into a vast world, vanquish punishing bosses, build grand halls, and forge your path in this co-op survival action RPG for up to 16 players. Alright, so today we're going to talk about Enshrouded. I've wanted to talk about this game for a long time. First, let's get into the game. So if we go, the game came into early access on January 24th and is currently sitting at a mostly positive review. So it is an open world survival base building RPG. And if you're a fan of a survival base building RPG, you should definitely check out Enshrouded if you have not. It is fantastic. I am currently sitting at 88 hours into the game. And I would still be playing this game, but I hit the level cap of 25. And for an early access game, this has so much. There's a lot of games that come out into early access and you jump in and you're like, this game is definitely early access, and you're really relying on the devs to come and add content to keep the game alive and progressing. I jumped into Enshrouded and I immediately felt like this is a very polished game for early access. It has got so much content, and the hours you can spend in just the base building alone, the sky's the limit. Yeah, I love it. So I'll jump into the game a little bit and kind of discuss my pros and cons. So here we are in game, and I'm going to start with the positives. Obviously, graphics. It's got its own style, and it's probably not for everyone. But I personally am a big fan of any stylized type of game. But I'm a big fan of these graphics. I love these graphics, and I've enjoyed this game. Some of the views are spectacular. I think the world building and environment is just fantastic as well. It's very well done. You can see the handcrafted love, and I felt like none of the world itself was boring. It was every bit of exploration was enjoyable. So graphics are definitely a positive for me. Second one, and probably my favorite, is actually the building system. So this was my first base I built right from the starting location, and it's a voxel based world, and so that alone gives you so many possibilities in building anywhere, on the side of a cliff, digging a hobbit hole, just anything. I mean, the possibilities are endless, and I love a building system that really you're only limited to your imagination, and this system is really that. So I love the building system. It is fantastic. I hit, like I said, hit the level cap of 25, and I've unlocked like 25 different build sets. So for early access, I feel like you can pretty much build any style you want. I feel like the animations and the character are well done. The combat is really well done. I really enjoyed the combat. It's definitely not something that requires a lot of skill. It's not Elden Ring, but I enjoyed it. I thought the animations were well done. I really enjoyed range combat. So for me, a positive is the combat. It felt really smooth to me. I like the shroud. I love the shroud and the time mechanic of you're in the shroud and you've got this sense of urgency, and you couldn't fast travel within the shroud. It just added a whole nother level to exploration. And like I said, for an early access game, I feel like this game has a lot of polish. So I have a mid-range PC, and I haven't experienced any issues. I didn't experience any bugs, or hardly any at all, and my frame rates were pretty good as well, even in some of my more detailed builds. So now I'll get into a couple of my negatives. Even though I love the building system, there are a few limitations because of it being a voxel based. Now, I don't know if, I wish there was a few different roof pitches, 2 or 3 different roof pitches, because just having one single roof pitch is a little limiting. One of the limits, I think, because of the voxel based, is that you can only build at 90-degree angles, and you can't build on 45s. I wish you could rotate things out of 45 and it would open up, you know, circular builds or octagon type builds. So that is probably one of the negatives in the build. I also wish they had a little bit more interior decorations, including weapon and armor stands, something that you can display your weapons and armor. That could also be changed within early access, as any of the things that I mentioned here. This, again, is early access, so they could be adding or changing anything at any time. One of the other negatives I felt was the NPCs. I think they look great, and I mean, it's cool. I understand what they were going for, but them to just stand here at your base, I felt it to be a little awkward. I wish there was a little bit more, maybe a nav mesh, that they walked around and did something within your village and not just stood still. That could be difficult, I'm sure, because then you have to add into, like, players are going to place them who knows where and in who knows what area. But anyway, nonetheless, it wasn't a big fan of them just standing here. The other one is I'm a big fan of, as I've stated before, when you're done with your weapons, you sheath your weapons, they are visible, especially a bow and arrow. So when you have your bow out and you sheath your bow, I want to be able to see a visible bow on your back or a quiver. I love games that have visible backpacks. I wish they had a visible backpack or quivers or some type of something on your back, just to add to that immersion for me. The story was not... I understood some of the story and lore, but I felt like it wasn't very immersive to follow along. I wish it was a little bit more in depth and immersive in the storytelling and how you learned, how you follow along with the story and the lore. So I'm not sure about the story and the lore. I'm just gonna keep it at that. So I really liked the fast travel mechanic and the ancient spires and the puzzles within them and unlocking them, and then the glider, and then fast traveling to your bases. I felt like it really worked within the exploration of the map. I do think this game could benefit from mount system. I don't think it would shrink the map at all. Like I said, the map itself I felt to be well done and just so fun to explore. I was never bored in any area that I was at exploring. So if you are a fan of open world, base building, survival, action RPGs, then I would definitely not hesitate. Take a look at Enshrouded. It is a fantastic game. For me, it's been worth every penny. I've enjoyed the heck out of this game. And like I said, if I didn't hit the level cap, I'd still be playing. I'm still messing around with the building a little bit, but I'm really excited to follow this game and see what they come up with and how far it goes and what they add all the way up into 1.0 release. So appreciate you watching and see you next time. I just wanted to share this Bible verse with you. It is Romans 10:17. So faith cometh by hearing, and hearing by the word of God. Everything in the Bible is surrounded by faith. Everything around God is of faith. But I think the Bible itself is our greatest evidence for God. There are 66 different books of the Bible. It's amazing how this historical book, written by eyewitnesses, and it was written down. How many times do people read all sorts of different historical accounts written by one man, and they believe that it is historically true? Yet this book is written by 40 different men over a period of 1,500 years, and yet it all confirms itself. From cover to cover, it is unified. Just remember, our faith cometh by hearing, and hearing by the word of God.